What is up, YouTube? It is MetroGame75 here today. Today we're playing my summer adventure, Memories of Another Life. Well, let's get started. This is day one. Full game comes out in 2 weeks, though. It's on Steam. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this afternoon or evening video today. Slowly swaying away inside the subway car, which was packed despite the late hour, he came to a realization. A rather scary one, come to think of it. I have nothing left besides my job. This gloomy thought didn't faze him, however. He was too tired to get emotional. A long time ago, when he was little, he found a great way to deal with bad thoughts. He would imagine the bad thoughts was a bubble above his head, like a comic book that would disappear in the next panel. Maybe he should try that now, huh? But the harder he tried to imagine the bubble, the more memories came crashing in. His wife, his son, about the time when he was happy. To hell with it. He sighed heavily and tried to lean more comfortably against the steel bars he was holding on to. He started to feel drowsy, and soon familiar images were once again floating before him. Oh shoot, that conversation with Yuko. She isn't screaming, but he can feel her anger. She's tense and upset. You never spend time with Akira. You always come home past midnight. He used to come up with excuses. He admitted he was guilty and promised to do better, but he never could, and they would argue again and again. Finally, he was fed up with it, with always feeling guilty. Shut up! Don't you understand who I'm doing this all for? He remembers the very wellings up inside of him. He remembers the tears welling up in his eyes, his wife's eyes. He remembers the words that brought it all down. I should never have married you. Damn, that's pretty rough. So stupid. You never realize how much pain you've caused until there's no going back. He sighed. He needed a distraction before the sadness consumed him. Karoshi. That word suddenly popped into his head. It killed me. I wonder if she'd come to my funeral. Maybe she'd bring my son. He felt a rush of cold air as the doors opened and realized the train had arrived at another station. He knew the seat next to him was about to be occupied by another tired person who, for some reason, was on their way to the suburbs at 10 p.m. So they did. He heard the clicking of heels. A woman sat down nearby. He wanted to look at her. He opened his eyes. All right, some office lady. Wait here. Something was off about her. He could feel it. Something in her look, in her eyes. Something vague but insanely familiar. Okay, with glasses, okay. Then he realized it, or rather he felt it. He wouldn't have been able to explain it had somebody asked. He just felt it with his whole body. He knew it. This gray-haired woman in this business suit wanted to die. Now, this train right here, I know very well this interior design, which company this is. This is Hankuyu. Kyoko Shihei only felt safe when she was close to home. That weird man on the subway had stared at her for almost the entire journey. It wasn't the look of a person curious about her gray hair. The man looked at Kyoko with sadness and worry in his eyes as if he'd been concerned for her. That look had completely soared her mood. The entrance to her building shone like a torch in the darkness, so bright and overpowering. Man, I've seen this outside before. Well, that's in my stepmom's Futanari. No, not step. It's a Futanari game. My agent is a Futanari. That's where this place is. But the effect was instantly noticeable when you step onto the stairs. The warm light enveloped you, filling you with a sense of serenity. This is your home, after all. This is where you should feel comfortable. But the magic of light held nothing for Kyoko. Apathetically, she walked through the lobby and called the elevator. Her apartment was on the 26th floor. It was a huge place with panoramic windows that seemed to overlook the whole city. Its millions of lights, like a swarm of fireflies, always mesmerized Kyoko. It's those lights that kept Kyoko from leaving her apartment at night surrounded by darkness. She would gaze at those lights and feel she wasn't alone. She was surrounded by people, countless people. Each of them had their own story, their own problems. Perhaps some of them were even happy. She took off her shoes and she went inside. The ringing silence was becoming unbearable. She found the TV remote on her chair. The seventh channel was playing a familiar movie. Only when the noise from the TV filled with the room, with Kyoko finally began to calm down. It had become a routine. Turn on the lights, drooling from the TV. Chuckling to herself, she started to change. Took off everything but her underwear and t-shirt and carefully crossing the floor in bare feet, stepped into the kitchen where she kept her cigarettes. Smoking was also a routine, or rather a ritual. One of the many that seemed to make up her lifestyle these days. Since you're all alone, keep busy through the day so you never have time to think. The advice she'd been given once. So now she was only going to have a smoke, then make some dinner, then spend the rest of the night working. The less you think, the better thoughts can kill. But life had other plans. Her attention was drawn to a book on the coffee table. It looked like a regular black notebook that you could buy anywhere. But something bothered Kyoko. This evening was getting more and more strange. First that man on the subway, now this. Where did it come from? She never had a notebook like this, and she hadn't kept any of her ex-husband things around. Could the maid have left it? Accepting this as the most likely explanation, Kyoko would pick up the notebook and open it at the bookmark. She merely wanted to throw it away. It was her ex-husband's handwriting. It was his notebook. Tears welled up in her eyes. The memories was washed over. Leave me alone. With all her strength, Kyoko threw the notebook as hard as she could. She hated it. She hated her ex. She hated herself for her weakness. Her desire to smoke turned into a habitual necessity. She went through 3 cigarettes one after another, almost without noticing. Finally, she began to calm down. It's just a notebook after all. Kyoko immediately realized she was lying to herself. Of course, it wasn't just a notebook. It was a reminder, a blinding and unexpected one. In a split second, it brought down all her barriers and invaded all of her thoughts. Kyoko knew that trying to read it would only cause her pain. Am I not already hurting enough? The simple question exploded like a bomb, shattering her will to resist. It was too late to worry of pain. Kyoko knew it the moment she was recognized his handwriting. Whatever she did, the result would be the same. Pain. Kyoko made up her mind. She put the cigarette out in an ashtray and clenched her fist, walked towards the notebook. It was still on the floor, its white pages shining. She carefully picked it up and sat down on the couch. It was definitely his handwriting. She would never fail to recognize it. Bad handwriting is a sign of intelligence, you know. Well, then you must be some kind of genius. With every memory, she could picture him all the more clearly. She could practically see his eyes, those big eyes, and that mischievous squint. She could see his smile. She could hear his voice. Are you praising me or scolding me now? Kyoko kept wiping her tears and put the notebook away. She would read it, whatever it took, but she'd probably need tissues first. Damn. September 9th, 4:30 p.m. Dark clouds are dropping a torrent onto the city, and I can't help but worry if my Kyoko got caught in the rain. She took an umbrella with her, of course, but with this, the wind drops are practically falling horizontally. So what good would it do? I should probably run a bath for her. She'll definitely want to get her warm when she's back. So here I am again. All the tasks are done, all the odd jobs. The lights are out in the apartment except the lamp on my desk. The rain keeps hammering against the glass, and I'm glad to be out of the dark and the cold in a small circle of light with my notebook. I love this feeling. Since I was in school, I was always found something magical about these moments. The streets are already dark, and I'm sitting by the lamp, scribbling away at my notebook, my homework. Maybe it's my version of sitting by a campfire, or just a personal quirk. Everyone has one after all. Damn, I'm losing my train of thought again. Like I've been trailing off pretty often. I should get down to business. I've written a whole page already and still made zero progress. My name is Maxim Lass. I'm 30 years old. I live in Tokyo with my wonderful wife, Shihei Kyoko. We've been married for 5 years. As for how we met, wait. The way our relationship started was absolutely bizarre. I'm not kidding. It was truly fantastical, like something from a romance novel. I think there's a whole separate genre about this kind of thing already. In short, I transferred myself into another body. How do I do that? I have no idea. Something cosmic miracle of the universe. Maybe Mercury was in retrograde. I can't say we ever tried to make sense of it. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, as they say. We deliberately chose not to ask questions. At first, we tried talking about it, but those conversations just went nowhere. Then we gave up. We had other things to deal with rather than waste our time trying to explain the unexplainable. For everyone else, we came up with some story about how we met online together and fell in love. Eventually, that lie eclipsed the truth, as if it was all a dream and I had never discovered myself in the body of a young Japanese man. Just more proof that magic has no place in this real world. It's confined to books and TV. But this was a true story. It actually happened. And that's why I'm sitting here writing this down. Because I think it's important that I tell this story. I should tell the world about the magical summer 5 years ago. I think I'll call it this mess. My summer adventure. Kyoko looked away from the page. She felt danger. It was like her ex-husband was pulling her into the dark and uncomfortable unknown. She never liked their conversation about the paranormal. She would have given a lot of to have actually met her husband online like normal people do. But whatever had happened, happened. Since it had been so important to him, Kyoko sighed deeply and continued reading. September 10th, 10 a.m. Rereading what I wrote yesterday makes me think I was drunk. I have no idea how I managed to fall into such literally. Well, actually, I do. It's because of the rain. It makes me emotional. No more writing in bad weather. Anyway, I should get down to business after all. It's already been 3 pages of pointless ranting. Bravo, Max. So my story begins on July 17, 2018, in the city of Tallinn. I was 25, and to be honest, I wasn't in the best shape. Somebody once told me life is like a zebra. There's a white stripe and then a black one. White, black, white, black. I was definitely in the black stripe at that point in my life, and it was all because of a girl named Polina. Specifically, the fact that she dumped me. Doesn't sound like that big of a deal. It happened every day. People meet each other separate, get married, get divorced. They take out mortgages, have children, abandon them. Plenty of people have been through it, but it hit me hard. I'm ashamed to admit, I couldn't let Polina go. I lost any pride I had and any sense with it. I kept going to her house with flowers. I waited for her by her office. I drew sentimental crap on the ground under her windows and shorts. I was making my ex life miserable. Oof. My life in turn lost all of its color and meaning. I felt no joy. I didn't care about anyone. I actually quit my job just so I could wallow in my sadness. Basically, it was the same old story you've probably heard before. I spent about 6 months like this, and then suddenly something snapped me out of that emotional coma. And what was it? Just another classic story. It started when I fell asleep on the train. Chapter 1. If you don't adapt, you die. If you don't die, you adapt. What? So I got adapted this whole stuff then, huh? Damn, an accident on 95. Hey, we got the Shinkansen in the background. When I woke up, I had one question floating in my mind. Where the hell am I? I knew I'd fallen asleep in the train car, but that wasn't where I woke up. Did they kick me off the train? Why don't I remember that? And what station is this? I had no time to look around, though. I heard somebody's voice. Are you okay? I turned around to see who was talking. It was a pleasant surprise. A pretty blonde girl was looking me over. She was slim, well dressed, with blue eyes, exactly my type. I also liked the fact she was looking at me. She did seem a bit worried, though. Akira-kun, she said, and touched my shoulder. And that's when I blacked out. Akira-kun, while my written self is lying unconscious, let's dot the I's and cross the T's. I don't normally black out when a pretty girl touches me. I don't idolize women and don't think there's some greater beings. Honestly, I could have a black belt and an arm touching. I've touched women's arms, men's arms, dogs' paws, cats' paws, raccoons' paws, and even parrots' feet. It's a long story. It's just the thought of spoiler alert kind of became the magic touch of me. Only not in a good way. The thing was, a number of things actually happened between the moment she touched me and the moment I blacked out. I looked down at where she touched me and made a few discoveries. The clothes weren't mine. The arm protruding from the clothes, those clothes wasn't mine either. How do I know? Because of the fingers. They were like sausages. I never had such fat fingers. These were the fingers of an obese man. I'd also never owned a jacket like the one I was wearing. And I sure as hell never had a gut like the one it was failing to hide. I began to panic. What the hell is happening? I had to look at myself in the mirror. I started to look around, and I saw my reflection in the train window. In that reflection, I saw a shaggy 20-something guy. So that's what happened. Now let's continue. When I finally came to, I found myself sitting on a bench. The blonde girl was standing beside me, handing me a bottle of water. Here you go. I hope I didn't fall on her. I could have easily crushed her. Wash your face. Does she think I have a heat stroke? My head did actually feel like it was on fire. I opened the bottle and poured it over my head. I felt a bit better, calmer. Do you need me to call an ambulance? I should say I never liked the doctors. A long time ago, one of them made a mistake that my family paid for. Since then, even the mention of an ambulance put my hackles up. So I replied without thinking. No, I don't. I'm fine. Are you sure? Yes. There was an awkward pause. Then, should we go? She asked hesitantly. Where? I asked confused. To the university. She replied equally confused. To the university? I repeated even more confused. She decided to put an end to the back and forth and just nodded. Okay, let's go then. I replied, and so we did. What a story. Back and forth with her, huh? I don't know about everyone else, but I have this one mental quirk. I call it my shock absorber. It's a kind of stupor that hits me whenever I'm addressed by a person I don't know that well, like a colleague. Realizing that somebody isn't there just to say hi and leave, but actually wants something from me, makes a little voice in my head start screaming. So for a few seconds, my brain just shuts off, and only afterwards do I snap out of it and start actually thinking things through. Shock absorber. Well, at that very moment, my shock absorber was doing its thing, with full support of my appendages. For about 10 minutes, I just walked behind this girl looking around. After a while, I felt a light burning sensation in my head and realized it was the ability to think coming back. It was coming back slowly, painfully, pushing aside the last bit of hope. I had that, I was dreaming. But since I wasn't waking up, I had to start thinking about the mess I was apparently in. I decided to start with, where the hell am I? Definitely not in Estonia. Where then? The skyscraper didn't tell me anything. Plenty of cities had them. I noticed the people around me appeared to be East, maybe Southeast Asian. I'm not an expert though. Could I be in Japan, China, or Singapore? Before long, we came onto a street that had some signs. Finally, I looked carefully. What the? Funnily enough, I could at least read what they say. What it said. This was when I was really starting to crack. How could I read a language and not know what it was? It was some kind of farce. I mean, come on. Just a minute. Maybe I knew something about that guy who used to be in this sack of fat. I tried to think of the guy's last name or address, but nothing was coming to me. I didn't know anything about the girl walking next to me either. Basically, the one thing I knew was the language. I was beginning to panic. The unexplainable kept raining down on me, and I was finally starting to drown. I stopped believing in what was happening to me. Like, it couldn't be true. It just couldn't. Then I looked at my hands again, then at my reflection. No explanation was coming up. I stopped and closed my eyes. What do I do here? How do I survive? I don't know anything. No, that's enough. I took a deep breath. A deep breath is nature's sedative. When you're nervous, just take a deep breath and hold it. The oxygen will enter your bloodstream and reach your brain. I heard a YouTube business say that once. What YouTube business? Well, what channel said that? I wonder. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. A deep breath. After all, they won't let me die here. I'm a civilized 21st century country. I could say that I have amnesia. This was an inconvenience option, but a pretty safe one. I'd have to stay in the hospital to meet this guy's parents, but I'd survive. This thought made me feel a bit better. I had a plan B at least. Akira-kun, are you not feeling well again? Maybe I should walk you home? She was standing next to me with a genuine worried look on her face. She was concerned about me. I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but it wasn't her face and her willingness to help that made me put off the amnesia story for a bit. I'll always have time to go to the hospital. No, I'm okay. Let's go. Are you sure? Uh-huh. Of course she didn't believe me, but still she turned around and continued walking. I didn't ask for more. We walked the rest of the way onto the university. While walking, I was trying to strategically analyze all the data I had. She called me Akira-kun. I knew what it meant once. Of course it was Japanese honorific. I have to be in Japan. Yes! Today I found it rather funny how happy I was just to know what country I was in. It must have been stress. I'm rarely that emotional in my everyday life, even close to payday or when I unlocked something cool in a mobile game. But at that moment, I was practically glowing with pride at my mental aptitude, even if no one else could see it. I couldn't rest my laurels for too long, though. Detective Lass had another mystery to untangle. Akira-kun. Akira-kun, she's saying his name the second time. Holy shit, it's a lot. My god. So is Akira the first name or last name? I knew with Japan it could be difficult to figure. Not only do they put the last name first, but the names themselves can be quite confusing. I can recall a colleague asked me once, who is Suzuka Madoka? Which could it be? Back I thought Madoka was a girl's last name. It made two mistakes with that one. I made two mistakes with that one. One, Madoka was the first name. Two, it belongs to a man. So, as I said, quite confusing. I went on with my analyst. She addressed me as Kun. This is a friendly honorific. The formal would be San. So if it's friendly, Akira is probably the first name. Otherwise, why would she use an informal honorific with a last name? So Akira is my first name. A bit later, I remember something else that confirmed my guess. I recalled a video game with a Japanese protagonist named Akira. Thank you, video games. So I just need to figure out my last name. Then I had another breakthrough and started searching through the pockets of my jacket looking for some sort of ID. But there was nothing. I only found a wallet with some yen. Well, at least I had further proof I was in Japan. I wanted to look through my backpack, but the blonde girl suddenly turned a corner and started walking towards one of the skyscrapers. It had a sign with large letters that said Toretto. That must have been the university. Impressive. Compared to our university located in old kindergartens and school buildings, this was mind-blowing. But my surprise was quickly replaced with panic. How do I enter without a student ID? Still, I kept following the girl who didn't seem at all concerned. What the hell could that mean? Maybe I don't need an ID. Sure, like they just let anyone in. Any second now, we're going to reach the doors and she'd pull out her ID and walk in and I'd be stopped by security. I kept following her anyway. We were just by the doors. Everything was much simpler than I expected. There was no security in sight. The girl approached the glass sliding doors, pushed a special key into one of the keyholes on the wall, and voila, the doors opened. Really? That easy? So I don't need an ID. Oh, and here I was worried. Amazing. Is this really a university? It looks like a whole shopping mall, honestly. This inside the building looked more of some kind of a business center. There were escalators, cutting-edge, transparent elevators, and lecture theaters with glass walls. There were even a few stores and cafes. I couldn't stop gazing around. Despite everything, I kept following the girl like an obedient puppy. We walked through the lobby, entered an elevator, and went up to the third floor. She went out, and I went out after her. Then something I hadn't been expecting had happened. Akira-kun, where are you going? Needless to say, her question caught me off guard. And that's putting it mildly. Thankfully, I had enough sense not to say, I'm just following you. Shocked as I was, I figured out she just replied with why, and I definitely wouldn't have an answer for that. You're on the 5th floor. Oh, thanks. I decided to see you out. Well, I guess I'll just say thanks, I guess. Oh, really? Thanks. That was all I could think of. She didn't find it weird, thank God. I gave it a pretty nonchalant reply. The girl smiled and said, it's nothing. Good luck, Akira-kun. Likewise. I mumbled she left. I just stood there, feeling embarrassed and scared, wondering where I was supposed to go. I wasn't really panicking, just worried. Akira-kun, you should be ashamed of yourself. I turned around and saw a new girl. She was pretty. Nah, she doesn't look too pretty to me. Where the fuck are you from, Danganronpa? What? If I didn't know any better, I'd assume you were a maniac planning to attack Shihane-san. I think my jaw actually dropped. Is she insane? I had no idea. I have no time to ask her that. Stop giving me that look, that weird look. If I think you're getting any ideas, I'm not afraid to strike first. But I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to attend class with a broken leg. She definitely is insane, lost all her marbles. I said nothing and turned around to call the elevator. Akira-kun, how about you stop being so lazy and we walk to the lecture hall? What the hell do you need from me? I wanted to scream, but I didn't. We walked to the lecture hall, so I'm in the same class as this lunatic? Well, that's just great. Shit. Then again, she can show me where to go. Alright, let's walk, I replied. I'm happy to hear that, Akira-kun. She said so, she said, and went on. What a weird girl. We entered the lecture hall and sat at the desk at the far end. My latest supervisor looked at me curiously. Akira-kun, should I call a doctor for you? What? Why? You didn't choose your usual seat, Akira-kun. I assume you're sick. Oh, where's my usual seat? I asked with a tingling irritation. Akira-kun, you're starting to worry me. Did you stay up too late watching adult content? Remember that tinge of irritation I mentioned? It grew quite a bit stronger. I got a temptation to hit her with something heavy, more than once. Can you just answer me normally without joking around? Joking around? Akira-kun, my speech is concentrated truth of the highest order. I'd never be caught partaking in jokes or any such silliness. But I'd admit, you're right, and I still haven't answered your question. Well, Akira-kun, your usual seat is here, right in front of the sensei. She pointed at the desk at the very front. Thanks. I hate sitting at the front, man. It sucks. It's nothing, Akira-kun. If your porn-induced amnesia persists, you can always ask me for an assistance. What? So you can assist me with my porn addiction problems? What? Definitely. Bye. I said, and showing my disinterest, started digging around in my backpack. She can take a hint, right? Apparently not. When I straightened myself, she was still standing in front of me. Akira-kun, I showed you kindness, but you didn't reciprocate. I like you. Just answer my question as well. I thought for a bit and recalled what she meant. No, I don't need a doctor. Very well, Akira. I'm satisfied. Bro, bye. Bro, she's crazy. What the hell? Confused doesn't begin to describe what I was feeling. She has to be crazy. Thinking the same. We're thinking the same thing. What does she have in for me? What kind of relationship does she and this guy have? And at that moment, the hall question quieted down, and I could see the professor in the doorway. I wanted to stand up out of a habit, but still stopped myself. Everyone else remained seated. Seemed like that isn't the custom here. Once the professor entered, some girl approached him and handed him a sheet of paper. The list of absentees, I guess. Where is Kojima? I barely managed to stifle a laugh. Kojima like the games with the snake and the cardboard boxes? Man, what a lucky last name. There he is, the girl said, pointing at me. I groaned. Not only was I inside of some fatty, my last name was Kojima. What had I done to deserve this? Why couldn't I have been transported into the body of a good-looking ladies' man? I noticed everyone's looking at me. What the hell? What are you starting at? Have you never seen a person changing seats? Why aren't you in your seat? I felt like sitting somewhere else. I replied displeased. I immediately realized I'd make mistakes. The surprised looks changed to downright bewildered ones. Damn, that must be considered unacceptable here. I'm sorry, I muttered. It's fine, the professor replied. Alright, let's begin the class. Looks like I'm in the clear. Everyone's finally turned away. The professor wrote the topic of a lecture on the board, distinct features of a 19th century European architecture. Whoa, the kid is learning to be an architect. Who would have thought? I didn't care about the lecture though. I opened the notebook and started writing down everything I knew about myself. My name is Akira Kojima. Judging by my appearance, I am 20 to 21 years old. I attend the University of Toretto, seemingly studying to be an architect or an engineer. That's it. Where do I live? What's my money situation? Where are my friends and relatives? Do I have any? If so, how do I contact them? Contact. The answer was so simple I almost slapped myself. My cell phone, of course. I must have a contact list. Trying to keep quiet, I started patting my pockets. I located a stylish smartphone in my red case in the pocket of my jacket, and some keys with it. So stupid, who carries keys with their phone? You'll scratch the screen. With that, I tapped on my phone, and a moment later, I wanted to throw it out the window. Can you guess why? Yes, it had a passcode. An untranslatable with witty play on words using local idiomatic expressions. I don't know if the real Akira Kojima could hear me somehow, but I hope his bearings are burning. I hope they're burning clean off, because I was cursing him in ways you wouldn't find in a dictionary of an absentees. I was screwed. I couldn't contact my friends or relatives to ask them for help. I couldn't Google my house. I can't do anything. Damn it! Can't even tell anyone about my amnesia. Fuck. No. Screw it. I know about the university. If I talk about being an amnesiac here, they'll help. If so, it's okay. I took a deep breath, trying to push away the fear. I can't stay at the university forever, though. I have to find out where I live. But how? If I ask the administration, I'll have to admit I'm an amnesiac right away. Then it hit me. Maybe I should walk you home. All right. So she knows where I live. Or does she mean show me the way or I'll help you get there? How do I find out? Well, I can't. I'll have to ask. So this leads us to another problem. How do I do that? I don't even know where she went. I wander around looking through every lecture hall on this floor. This place is huge. It would take me hours. Do I have any other options? I scratched my head for several painful minutes, but couldn't think of anything. It seemed my brain had decided it had worked enough for one day and then shut down. Well, not quite true. I could think of one thing, but I didn't like it at all. It turned out that the weird girl, she was sitting with her back straight and listening intently to the professor. I wouldn't have guessed she was so diligent. In short, about my only idea was to talk to her during the break and ask her about that blonde girl. She did see me watch the blonde walk away, even said her name. What was it? Shirahane? If I didn't know any better, I assume you were a maniac planning to attack Shirahane-san. Damn! Okay. I should just walk up to her and ask the question and leave. No funny business. Be a man. Hell, why am I so nervous? I waited for the bell to ring, then took a deep breath and clenched my fists and marched towards her. I was mentally checking everything inside my brain like a fighter pilot, getting ready for takeoff. I would be just as swift and precise too. I was in a bad mood. I wasn't a fan of this girl, so I wondered I had a face on as I approached her, and she didn't miss it. Akira, if you're mad, you should think before you act. Minor revenge isn't worth a fine and an incarceration. I have to admit that was the last straw. Now I really want to strangle her. No, just a little. I have to ask you something. I said as harshly as possible. Really? Oh, what was that? Do you have Shirahane's number? No. Damn! Damn! What do I do now? First of all, I don't know what any Shirahane sign. Damn! Wait a minute. Well, you said her name when we met by the elevator. I assume you're referring to Shirahane, the poor girl you're planning to stalk. I'm not to hell with it. Yes, her. Shirahane. Well, what's the difference? I have her number, Akira-kun, but I don't want to give it to you. I can't be sure of your intentions. My desire to strangle her grew stronger. Okay, let me call her from your phone. And why would I do that, Akira-kun? Because if otherwise, I'm going to take your phone by force and throw it out the window when I'm done. I'll buy you a candy bar. Akira-kun, do you really think I'm so shallow I could be bought with a candy bar? 2 candy bars. 4 Akira-kun and a lavender latte. At the moment, I was ready to promise her at the freaking moon. Deal. She took out her phone, tapped the screen a few times, and handed it to me. The Japanese characters on the screen said, Shihei Kyoko-san was kind enough to meet me after class, so a couple of hours later I was waiting for her on a bench. I was sad. I had searched through the backpack and the pockets, but I couldn't find anything useful. I knew my name and country. The cards and keys I found didn't tell me anything. I sighed and tried to focus on something else. The sun was mercilessly hot. I had to take off my jacket, necktie, and sweater. Thankfully, it all fit inside my backpack. There was also the noise. Some insects unknown to me. maybe some kind of cricket, was sounding off like an airplane, drowning out everything else. How does this not drive them insane? While waiting, I tried Akira's phone once again. I had found out it was July 18th, Wednesday. Also, I also had learned Akira wasn't either Ray or Bradbury or the used X-Fan since the password 0451 didn't work. Just triple nines or quadruple nines other combinations to try. Strangely, I wasn't worried about what to say when I say to Kyoko. I don't know why. Maybe I exhausted my ability to worry for one day. I just feel that we easily find common ground. My confidence lasted right until I saw her slender figure step outside. Apparently she was already noticed me and was heading straight over. Then when it started, the closer she got, the more doubts I had. What do I say? How do I say it? This is like someone trying to talk to a girl but don't know what to say. Jesus Christ. I couldn't just say, please walk me home. I mean, I could, but she wouldn't understand. Try to picture the conversation. I go, please walk me home. And she goes, you know, this might be the worst attempt at flirting I've ever seen. Oh no. Fuck. God damn it, man. We messed up. Kyoko, no, wait. Crap, I have to think of something else. She's so close. Think. What if... drive her crazy? No, we gotta captivate her heart, I guess. Yeah, we have to captivate her heart. Captivate her heart. Kago-san, I'm floored by your beauty. Like cherry blossoms floating down under the rays of moonlight. That's where my thoughts slow down a bit. How do I compare a girl to a falling leaf? I didn't want it to stop. You're amazing. I don't think she expected that. Kyoko, hear the blood running through my veins. Can't be without you. I need you like a drowning man needs air, like flowers needs the sun, like a cat needs catnip. Kyoko, I'm suffering even right now from happiness. So could you walk me home? I look right into her eyes. The time stood still as I waited for her reply. Finally she spoke. Oh boy, here we go. Well, I didn't need to think so hard. It turned out to be pretty simple. Hey, sorry I'm late. It's okay. You said you need to talk to me. I did. Can we do this on our way home? Much simpler. 5 minutes later, I was happily lying to her about my difficult life. It wasn't even that far from the truth. A serious concussion, hematoma. The doctors said I could experience memory loss. Kago-san was looking at me shocked. She didn't seem to doubt me at all. So innocent. Bless her. I remember most things, but not everything. Would you believe I forgot my phone's passcode so I can't unlock it? That'll be insanity. I'll be going crazy over this. I also don't remember where I live. Kyoko stopped. Akira-kun, you're not joking, are you? No. Then why aren't you at the hospital or your parents' place? Because I felt fine yesterday. I came back from the hospital and went to sleep and I felt fine in the morning. Well, until I got off the train. As for my parents, I didn't want to worry them yesterday, and today I can't even call them. You should have talked to the professors. Oh, come on. I want to wait out. It could all come back to me. I decided to talk to you because you said you could walk me home. So, you know where I live, right? You don't even remember that? What the hell is she on about? What's that? Don't tell me we live together. Well, I was thinking how to answer. I always seem to take my sounds as an answer. We're neighbors, Akira-kun. We walk to university together almost every day. What a twist. So that's why she was nearby. Just a minute. Just neighbors, nothing more? What's our relationship? Meanwhile, she went on. Akira-kun, I really think you should go to the hospital. Just leave this place. Just leave us alone, please. No hospitals, please. But Akira-kun, that's enough. If you want to help, do what I'm asking. I couldn't quite read her face. There was sadness, confusion, and fear. but she didn't argue. Alright, Akira-kun. That was all she said. We went on, silently. Soon the silence started to bother me. Even I even thought about saying I was sorry. I didn't want to, of course. I didn't say anything I'd be offended by, so why should I feel guilty? But common sense was telling me that perhaps I wasn't a universal emotional yardstick, and Kyoko might not have been a thick-skinned as me, and perhaps her silence meant I crossed a line. After all, she simply expressed her concern, and I shouted at her. But it's not like I asked her for a concern. Can I get a break? Why are women so complicated? I had to stay on good terms with Kyoko. She was my only chance to get home, but she kept walking without saying a word. I got angry at myself. Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap at you. She gave me a surprised look. What for, Ayurun? I should be the one saying sorry. You're unwell and I'm bothering you. I wanted to apologize earlier, but you look so angry. I didn't expect Kyoko to be so rational. For some reason, I thought she was the stereotypical pretty know-it-all who only cared about being right. But I've been wrong. Kyoko was smart and a lot of shrewd than I thought. She understood not only what I was thinking of, but my feelings too. The only idiot in that situation was making assumptions about somebody I didn't even know. And there I was thinking I was being rational. I felt guilty. Thankfully, she preferred to resolve this amicably. How about this? You'll forgive me, and I'll forgive you. Sounds good. So I'm sorry, Cocoon. I'm sorry too. I stuck out my pinky finger, and she grabbed it with hers. Pinky swear, stay true, or get 10,000 punches. I never heard a pinky swear like this. Damn it all to hell. This is truly a crappy day. Well, back in the train. I wonder where's this one to. If any of these rail fans can tell which one this is. About an hour later, I was standing in front of the apartment, 24 inside a strange building, thinking, what was with this architecture? There was no lobby, and the exit is on the balcony. Are these apartments or dorm rooms? I wonder if there's only one kitchen or an outhouse. You might be wondering how I narrowed it down to 24. Simply, Kyoko pointed to me. She had told me the truth. She actually lived in the next building and saw my apartment number a couple of times. I was incredibly lucky. One of these keys on my keychain fit the lock. To be completely honest, I was pretty scared to open the door. What was behind it? What was this fitting into? What if I go in and find panties on the kitchen table and posters with naked ladies all over the walls? Talk about awkward. I sighed and opened the door. I was amazed at how normal everything looked. This can't be. Something must be wrong here. I walked in and took off my shoes and left them in the entrance area with the lower floor. Ingenuous. Why don't they have that in my country? Then I look around. At first glance, the place looked fine, a normal room of a normal university student. Although there was a jumbled heap of clothes in the wardrobe and a thick layer of dust peeking out from under the bed, but those were nothing. Overall, the place was kind of nice. I sighed with relief and threw myself onto the bed. I finally had time to think everything over. I tried to analyze the whole deal with being transported to another lobby. I guess I shouldn't have expected to have a handle on things too quickly. But by the way, now I was starting to think it was pointless. You'll never figure out how this works. So why waste time? If something like this happens, your main goal is to survive. I seem to have succeeded in that. Thank you, whatever higher power there is. You haven't totally thrown me to the lions. Then I had an idea. I should try calling myself. Then I remembered the locked phone. Damn! What if my PC was locked too? That thought made me feel even worse. What do I do then? Of course there was one option, reinstall the OS, but all of the... No, there's a way to go around this stuff. All you gotta do is take out the hard drive, put in a different hard drive, reinstall the OS on the new drive, and then afterwards you just get some adapter to like just like if you already know what I'm talking about, you already know. If you know, you know. But it would take a while, and where would I get the installation package anyway? Oh shit! Now you don't even know where to find it. That's the oh my days. Sneak into an internet cafe and try downloading a torrent. I mean, hey, that's like your best bet right there. Like, if you don't got money, that's your best bet. Or just create a Windows media creation tool. I swore out loud. I hope it wouldn't come to that. My heart beating rapidly, I sat down at the table and turned on my laptop. Version 10. That's Windows 10 you're on, boy. So far, so good. Is that like his nickname? Like a bunch of numbers? As soon as I clicked the sign in button, I thought about throwing my phone out the window again. After all, why would I need it when it's locked? The laptop has no password. I threw my arms up victoriously, but it was short lived. I saw something slightly strange on the screen. Perhaps very strange. Corridors of their memories. Is this who I think it is? Oh, fuck. God damn it. Yes, it was her. I'm gonna read this. The girl I met in the hallway. I thought hard about this. My classmate naked as a wallpaper? What the hell could that mean? Is he in love with her? Maybe there used to be something between them? Ha. Yeah, right. This fatty and that pretty girl. Ridiculous. But this was the only explanation for this photo I can think of. If there was never anything between them, but he has her nude photo, did he hack her computer or socials? Then again, the photos look like it was taken by a professional. Maybe she's some kind of adult model? Or maybe she's a carefree spirit who doesn't mind posting stuff like this publicly? Her body's impressive. What a woman. Look for more pictures of the girl. Nah, let's not. And once again, I grew worried. To hell with the girl. I have more important business. Alright. Which of these icons is a browser? There wasn't a single familiar browser app installed. What the hell? I cursed the poor young Japanese man once again and started carefully studying the icons. Stupid Akira. Why couldn't he install something everyone uses? Most of the desktops was filled with video games and design programs, but eventually I found something called Brove. Could that be it? It was. A colorful window of Yahoo search engine. Well, that's Yahoo reference, I guess. Maybe I should download Chrome right away. Whatever, I can do it later. I want to find my online profile. What if the real actor was in my body? If so, maybe we could talk about it. I entered the name in the Japanese and found the right social network on the second page of the search. Now to find my profile. Of course the keyboard didn't have any Roman characters, but it wasn't a problem. I just entered my name into an online translator. Then I realized something that shook me deeply. My hands froze above the keyboard, and for a while I couldn't even move. I forgot my native language. Oh no. I lay on the bed, gazing at the ceiling and feeling completely helpless. I forgot my native language. How could that be possible? A bit earlier, I managed to find my online profile. It had last been active that morning, meaning the very moment when I got on the train. I thought I could use the online translator to contact my relatives. I could tell them I was alive. But then all what ifs started cropping up in my mind. What if they didn't believe me? What if they thought it was a prank? What if somebody else was living in my body and acting normally, just not using the internet? What if they believed me and started worrying? What if it gave somebody a heart attack or a stroke? What if, in the end, I decided not to contact anyone? I shocked and dismayed by my freshly realized loneliness. I laid down on the bed and started to think again. I forgot my native language. Amazing. What else could I have forgotten? No idea. I remember my name, I remember my parents, I remember where I studied and where I worked. I still have my brightest memories. Where then? Damn. I had wanted to make a list of things I knew about Akira, but now I need a list for myself. Talk about cruel irony. I closed my eyes. I had to calm down. After all, I remember most things about myself. That should be enough. For now, I still make a dossier about myself. The next question on the agenda is, what now? I don't know how I got here and I don't know what to do. Of course, the first priority is survival. Staying alive is 50% of success, but I guess that shouldn't be too hard. I spotted a few stores along the way, and the university probably has a cafeteria. I had some money in my wallet too. I just had to figure out what and how much I could get for it. So survival isn't a problem. What's next? Can I do something to get back? Maybe I'm stuck here forever. I felt froze. Once again felt froze with fear. Blind, stupid, all-consuming fear. Trying to chase it away, I started praying like my grandma had taught me. I'm not much of a Christian, of course. I only turn to God when I need something. And even when I'm praying, part of me knows it's just a reflex. One of the many problems in my brain. Like Pavlov dog salvating when they hear the bell. Still, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me courage to change the things I can. Grant me wisdom to know the difference. I whispered these lines several times and could feel the fear backing down. I don't know how this works. If it's just a ritual to calm my own nerves, then following events were just a coincidence. But if not, perhaps my prayers were heard. Man, that pretty much sucks. Wait, a few hours later, Kyoko Shihane was standing in the kitchen. If that tiny space in the hallway could be called that, and what was cooking some kind of curry, I remember that image down to every tiny detail. A gorgeous blonde closely watching the pan. She seemed to foreign in the crappy apartment. Foreign and beautiful. I didn't realize I had been mindlessly staring at her for a while. I wonder if she noticed. I noticed Akira-kun. She began, and I felt uneasy. You don't like cooking very much. What makes you say that? Your fridge was empty, and the only utensil you own is this. She raised her hand, holding a single chopstick. Where's the other one, Akira-kun? I ate it. the fridge was empty. I was too lazy to go to the store. And then I could fry the other one for you. Well, you have to buy a new set. You probably wondered how we got here. Why was a girl I barely knew cooking curry in my kitchen? Let me explain. Having spent quite a bit of time doing nothing except dwelling my misery, I realized I had to do something. You could spend an eternity feeling sorry for yourself and cooking up useless theories. All I could do was try and adapt to my new environment. I decided to start right away and look in the fridge. It wasn't a happy sight. It was completely empty. For a second, I even thought it was new. So I had to go out for groceries. Before that, I'd taken a shower and changed. After all, I had to keep my new body clean. Having made myself presentable, I went out. Finding a store wasn't the problem. I remember where it was on my way home. The problem was money. I had some in my wallet, but it clearly wasn't lasting long. The wallet also held a black card for some reason, for some local bank. Thankfully, it was set Visa. But what was the PIN? And what would I do if I couldn't pay? I wouldn't be able to go to the bank and tell them about my amnesia. Damn! It was clear I need help. I couldn't figure out what I was or wasn't able to do. My sad thoughts were interrupted by a familiar voice. Akira-kun? I turned around. Who's this? Oh no. Oh, it's her. Yo, I thought it was that girl from the high school. Bro, whoa. Come on, you passed me by without noticing. Noticing how Kyoko was even prettier in her casual clothes, I started to come up with excuses. I'm sorry. I was lost in sight, in thought. Don't worry about it. Are you okay? You look so sad. I think I've forgotten the pin code to my card. Why don't you write to the bank? I also forgot the code word. Code word? What do you mean? You don't need a name stamp. You can guess that her replay confused me. How would I know they didn't use code words here? I bounced back quickly though. My bank also requires code words. I gotta say, your bank is quite old-fashioned. Traditional. I objected. Lay off my bank. Kyoko was unfazed by passive aggressiveness. What about your transport card? What about it? Have you ever never paid with it? No. I can pay in stores with a transport card? Let's go check. I think this Konbini accepts transport cards. That's where you're going, right? God, please let go Benny mean grocery store. Well, yeah, you too? Yep. I need spices, shall we? She said and headed off to the store. Looks like I was right about the Kobini. The Kobini didn't really surprise me. It was a regular store like any other. One thing managed to shock me though, and that was the food. And Kyoko examined quietly when we entered. I had to explain this one. It wasn't just the food, it was the amount of prepped food. Food that you could just eat right away. There was a ton of it, all possible kinds. Salads, rice dishes, noodles with various types of fish and meat, appetizer entries, and desserts. I couldn't stop gazing around. A true bachelor's paradise. She, however, will walk right past this gastronomic marvel. She stopped in front of the spices and frozen produce. I guess she cooks for herself. I wasn't going to waste on time, so I started studying the prep stuff. Okay, what is this Don Burry? I took the package and started studying it. Rice, veggies, something else. Looks edible. Maybe even then I felt like I was shot in the head. Blinding pain hit me in the right temple. The word imploded into a tiny little dot inside my head. When it passed, I realized I was surrounded by people. Kyoko and Storno were also standing nearby. They looked scared. Are you okay, Akira-kun? I think I've heard this one today. Yes, thank you. Who are you? Uh-oh. And as you can guess, Kyoko didn't appreciate the joke. Idiot. Nevertheless, she was kind enough to offer to help me with cooking, and naturally I agreed. After that, she gathered a bunch of products I hadn't seen before, and had to spend half of my cash on, and we headed to my place. Thankfully, my apartment was fairly clean, so I didn't have to feel embarrassed in front of Kyoko. She actually made herself at home pretty quickly in my kitchen. She checked my cupboards, found the plates, put the stuff in the fridge. Somehow I thought she'd be more shy. She also refused my help, so I had nothing to do but lay on the bed, sneaking glances at her, hiding behind a book. So there we are. So Akira-kun, even though you and your kitchen tried hard to stop me, I managed anyway. The sauce is ready. Hey. What does she mean, you and your kitchen? Did she notice me and looking at her? I suppressed the desires to face Paul myself. My therapist always said I should always forgive myself. I just started getting up when Kyoko approached me. When she was holding it was an unpleasant surprise. Here you go. Enjoy. Wait a minute, what about you? We exchanged bewildered looks. I'm not having any today. What do you mean? I'm not hungry. Okay. Okay. Want to insist, but then remember my manners. Who was I to demand that she eats her grandmother? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just embarrassed. You cooked so much, but didn't try anything. Don't worry, Akira-kun, it's okay. I truly hope you enjoy it. He took the plate out of her hands. Look at the chopsticks she handed to me. This stuff is eaten with chopsticks, damn. Still, I took them and Kyoko began getting ready to leave. Akira-kun, I'm really sorry, but I have to go. I'll see you tomorrow. Wait. I walk Kyoko home. I decide to help with her stuff, even though she had only one fairly light bag, and we agreed to see each other the next day at university. Her agreement made me very happy, so I came back home all giddy. After eating Kaiko's food, I realized I was very tired, so the first day of my magical adventure ended pretty mundanely. I quickly set about bothering the neighbors with my snoring. Sheesh. Oh, we reached to the end, everyone. Thank you for playing the trial version of my summer adventure. This was just the beginning of Maxim's story. There's still a lot to unravel in this mystery. Wishlist the full version of the game. Well, not at the moment though. Well, I might. Well, it depends. If you guys want to see more of this, then of course I would. But anyways, that is the end of this video, everyone. So thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.